Hey guys, it's Max from Apple Insider, and we just received the brand new XS and XS Maxes. That's tough to say. So let's go ahead and unbox them and check out everything that's new. There you have it, the iPhones are unboxed. Now before I take a look at the phones themselves, I do want to mention that the biggest disappointment this year is that the iPhone XS and the Max still come with a 5-watt charger, the same one that we've had for so many years. Now along with that, Apple is no longer including the Lightning to 3.5mm audio jack adapter, so if you need one of those, you're gonna have to buy one separately. Now let's talk about the outsides. As you can see, we have the all new gold color and it is beautiful. Last year, the iPhone X didn't have a gold option, but we do have an iPhone 8 Plus that did come in the gold. And as you see, there is a massive difference. The glass itself is a different color. And of course, the sides with the stainless steel that's coated, it really truly looks like a gold ring or something like that. It looks really high-end, really premium compared to the anodized aluminum on the iPhone 8 Plus. And of course, we no longer have a white face because of that OLED display. Everything here is black, so the notch could be hidden. Now the iPhone XS looks almost identical to last year's iPhone X. It's really difficult to see differences unless you look close up. The first giveaway is at the bottom. We actually have 3 cutouts instead of 6, and that's because we have this new antenna band right here at the bottom. And along with that, we have a new one at the top, and that's for the new Gigabit Class LTE, which we'll test out in just a bit. And I want to mention that you shouldn't worry about the sound quality of the speakers. Last year's didn't actually have a speaker on this side, it was just for looks, and this year the iPhone speakers have been updated. There's actually another physical difference on the outside, and that is that the camera bump is actually a little bit bigger, even though it doesn't seem like it is. So let's grab my case from the 10, and I'm going to try to insert the phone here. It's a little bit tighter, and even though it does kind of fit, and my case is about a year old, it's kind of worn out now, as you can see, it doesn't fit properly in the cutout. And if you did have a brand new case, it may not fit, especially if it's a hard case. Now we actually do have one of the premium leather cases from Apple here for the XS Max, so let's see how the phone should properly fit without having those extra gaps like we saw on the smaller one. And as you can see, this is how it should fit. One common misconception is that the iPhone XS has a 120Hz display, and that's not true. Apple did talk about this during the keynote, but they mentioned a 120Hz touch sample rate, which is how fast it can read your fingerprint, and that's what provides ultra smooth motion on the iPhone, and that's the same exact specification as last year's iPhone X. Another common misconception is that this display has a 60% greater dynamic range, and that's not the case. These displays are actually exactly the same. The difference is in the new camera's Smart HDR feature, which has a 60% greater dynamic range in the images that you can see on this display. Apple also talked about the new phones having a wider stereo feel with the speakers. So let's take a listen. Honestly, I really can't tell a difference. They sound identical to me, but this is just a standard YouTube video, so I think we're gonna have to explore this a little bit deeper in another video, maybe listen to some movies and some music from different sources and see where that difference can come in. Now it's time for some benchmarks. We're gonna use Geekbench 4, and right here at the home screen, we see a difference in RAM. The new iPhone XS has 4GB of RAM compared to 3 on the iPhone X, and the new A12 Bionic processor is based off a 7nm process, which is gonna give you better performance and better efficiency, which will result in about 30 minutes better battery life. The results are in, and as you can see, the iPhone XS is scoring higher. Usually our iPhone X scores around 10,000 or just above that. This run it actually scored 9,500 compared to 11,500 for the XS. Now let's run the graphics test. And here are the results. The iPhone XS is just over 30% faster in this metal test, but we are going to explore this further in another video, so make sure you guys subscribe. We're going to do some gaming and some other benchmarks. Now let's talk about the cameras. The wide-angle camera is brand new. It's a larger sensor, so it's going to let in more light and be higher quality, but the telephoto sensor and camera lens is actually identical from the iPhone X. We also have the new Bokeh adjustment feature, so let's take a portrait photo and test that out. Let's start out with the iPhone X. Switching over here, we got the blur and snap the photo. And now with the XS, That shutter is noticeably quicker, which is one thing Apple mentioned. It's basically instantaneous instead of having to wait maybe a quarter to half a second for it to take the photo. Now let's take a look at the bokeh and depth control. It starts out at f4.5, which is a really nice, pleasing look, something that looks really realistic compared to an actual DSLR full frame camera. And we can slide it either way. If we want more blur, we can go all the way down to f1.4. And here it's so blurred out that you can hardly tell what's in the background, and the pot is actually blurred out too. If we go the other way, we can go to f16, and here we still have a little bit of blur, and just to my eyes it matches up really well to, say my Sony full frame camera with a 55mm lens. Comparing the iPhone XS photo to the 10s, I see a lot of differences here. The iPhone X's photo is darker overall, and I actually have some blown out areas at the top right hand side, and then at the same time our desk is quite dark. The iPhone XS looks brighter, we don't have any blown out areas, and our shadows and our midtones are brighter as well, and our colors are more vibrant. So I am really impressed by the differences. Here's another sample photo that I just took. The iPhone XS has more realistic colors to the actual room, and kind of the skin tones look better. And of course the bokeh is more pronounced and looks nicer overall. And another thing I want to mention as far as the focus adjustment, when you're adjusting the bokeh, it actually warps it instead of just blurring it out more, just like you would get with the real lens. As you can see, the bokeh here is no longer circular, it's actually warped, and this is exactly what you get with an actual full frame camera if the bokeh is nearing the edges of the frame. Now, one really big improvement with the iPhone XS, another capability, is that new dual SIM, one being a physical SIM and the other one being an eSIM, and that's going to allow me to ditch my iPhone 6s that I use for a business phone that I have another line on, and be able to do everything just off of one phone. And that's going to be really convenient for those of you who have two phones like I do. Below, this has been Max with Apple Insider, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, like it and hit that subscribe button. Also, check out our price guide, which makes it extremely easy to find the best deals on Apple products updated daily. Be sure to follow us on social media, and we'll see you in the next video.